Hello and welcome to another Overlord lore video, and today we are going to dive a bit deeper into the all things included fantastic first episode of Overlord's thus far fantastic 4th season. And specifically, we will take a look at the missing scene that both was hilarious and will actually become important later in the novels. Volume 15 and 16 to be specific. And no, I'm not going to make a full what the anime has left out video, because I think I'm much better at explaining specific connections and lore related stuff, while AniNews, for example, is way better at recapping stuff anyways. But before we are going to take a look at what was left out in the first episode, and why it was quite important, let's take a look at my Patreons and thank them for supporting this channel. Furthermore, I say thanks to all users of the YouTube thanks function who made one-time donations. Now with that said, let's dive into the topic. It's about Aura, Mare, their creatress, the brother of their creatress, and their specific choice of clothing. First and foremost, I feel I should explain why Aura and Mare are cross-dressing. So Aura dressing like a male elf, while Mare dresses like a female elf. And while men in skirts or kilts are a thing in Scotland, these fashion and clothing choices are specifically meant to represent clothes of the opposite sex. And the reason for all of this is Buku Shagama, the creatress of the Twin Floor Guardians, and the older sister of Peroroncino. And in the sibling relationship the two had, Buku was the far more dominant person, the one that made her little brother shut up when he couldn't talk about anything else than, for example, hunting harpies and other lewdly dressed monsters. And she believed that the older sibling, aka herself, should also be in charge of the younger sibling, aka her brother. But it is also very important to state that while both siblings fought quite a bit verbally, and again Buku was more often than not the one displaying leadership over her brother, they still were siblings. They didn't have any serious animosities, and they in general were very fond of another. But, and this is also important and quite a rarity nowadays, at least in anime, not in any bodily way. Peroroncino even explicitly stated that he didn't play the lewd game because his sister, who works as a voice actress in real life, voiced one of the characters. So once again, it's one of the more healthy relationships among siblings in anime. And now let's go back to why Aura and Mare cross-dress. Well, the two are twins, and in order to tease her little brother a bit, Buku decided that Aura, aka more or less the representation of herself in the sibling relationship, would be tomboyish and dominant, while Mare, who represents Peroroncino in this relationship, was dressed as a girl and portrayed as very meek and submissive. Fun fact, while Shelty basically an amalgamation of every fetish Peroroncino ever had, and Aura, which again represents his older sister, fight a lot, this fighting is also just on a superficial level, and in truth, Shelty and Aura consider themselves to be best friends, which Aura also keenly felt in the third novel, after Shelty got herself killed by Ainz, after being mind-controlled by the Black Scripture. And with all of that said, let's go to the missing scene, and why it will become important much later in the story. Now first and foremost, during the prologue of the 10th novel, or in the first episode, it is revealed that Ainz had allowed all members of the Great Tomb of Nazarick to contribute ideas on how to rule the Sorcerer Kingdom, or Kingdom of Darkness, as it is called sometimes. And Aura and Mare felt that it was the right thing to make basically every man dress as a woman, and every woman to dress like a man, something Ainz couldn't of course allow, for it was not only wrong from his perspective, and it goes against common sense, but Ainz, who knew it was just a specific thing, a fun fact from Yggdrasil that hailed from a playful sibling animosity, was now hard-pressed to explain why this couldn't become the standard for all living beings in the new kingdom. So he came up with the idea that how they dress is because they are quite special to their creatress, Buku, and that cross-dressing was a thing only meant for the two. While Albedo also added, and this was the by far more pressing matter, that the Sorcerer Kingdom was cut off from trade, suffered a massive decrease in population, and was hard-pressed to find any money, since Ainz didn't want to touch the gold inside Nezuric's treasury vault. But ultimately Ainz Ul Gown's more emotional reasoning and Albedo's cold hard cashlessness convinced the two Floor Guardians that the idea was simply not practical. And this is where the spoiler territory begins. In the 15th novel, the Elf King reinforces his ruthless impression further by taking back items from Yggdrasil from the corpse of one of his daughters without caring one bit about her, because she was weak and the Elf King wanted nothing more than a strong female to mate with and sire incredibly potent offspring. In the meantime, Aura, Mare and Ainz Ul Gown had arrived in the Sea of Trees, as the forest the Elf Kingdom is located in is also called. And while Ainz Ul Gown suggested Mare to dress a bit different, hoping he would dress more like a ranger, his actual dress went more in the direction of bikini armor. So at this point, we have an Elf King in search for a strong female, and Mare looking like this. And while I don't know what will happen in the 16th light novel because it isn't out yet, I venture to guess that a certain misunderstanding will lead either Zeshi or the Elf King to do something potentially very, very dangerous to Mare. And last but not least, this is the man who had also destroyed countless cities and killed hundreds of thousands of people during the war against the Kingdom of Riestais during the 14th novel. So yeah, pretty much this is what Doom and his pair looks like if you had been a citizen of the Kingdom of Riestais. And my main point during all of this is, once again, a seemingly unimportant, fun-facty little detail might become incredibly important in Overlord. And with that said, I say thank you very much for watching, and a special thanks to Bad Guy Yi, Ben C, Chrissy, Crowley0221, Sia, Dad Slime, Death is Mercy, Deathless Dragonlord, Demon Xenomorph 1987, Devin Downen, Duckwagon, Dystopia, Dystopia II, Enigmatic Unicorn, Feral Shivan, Guy with Dead Hat, Hector Marino, Hoss, Huster, Jacob G, Jana B, Jason, Chromius, Legendarius, Lelouch wie Britannia with a Mustache, Lexus Fox, Lord Nishiki and Rai, Lord Touch Me, Merovec, Mr. Shoes, Mr. Tweaker, Michael R, Michael Y, Normal Toad, O'Kill, Overlord General Gasper, Paddy Pantom, Personage, Primus 11, Shergox's Daddy, Shadow Lightning Wolf, Shrine Keeper, Staris, Ted, Texas Deer, The Orc Warboss, Rock Ed Smasher, T.E. Wang, Vash Hawkeye, Vegito 27, Venture Fanatic, Wilhelm, and Zonagon. Thanks guys. Anyway, have a nice day and I hope to see you all again soon on my next video.